Chapter 3 is all about the angles that are formed by parallel lines. So we're going to start with the vocabulary so that you can get comfortable with it. The most important thing about completing these proofs in this chapter and this unit is knowing the vocabulary. So the first word is parallel lines. The symbol we use for parallel lines are two little parallel lines. The definition, two coplanar, hopefully you remember what that means, lines that never intersect. So if we have a plane like this, and we have two lines on that plane, A and B, we would say line A is parallel to line B. And to show that in the picture, we can either use open arrows like this along the line, or you can use shaded in arrows like this to show that the lines are parallel. So anytime you read that two lines are parallel, you automatically mark the arrows in the picture within the lines so that we know that they're parallel. Skew lines, on the other hand, are two non-coplanar lines that never intersect. So for instance, if you have a plane and you've got a line along that plane, and then you have another line that shoots up through the plane. Okay, notice it's shooting kind of in front of the other line. Even though it appears that they do intersect, they actually do not intersect. So number one, they don't intersect, and they are not parallel. They aren't parallel. Okay. Another example of that would be if you had a cube. This line across the front here, and maybe this line going down here. Even though they look like they intersect when I draw it like that, if you think about three-dimensional space, those will never intersect. A transversal is a line that cuts across two or more lines. So if you had a line here and a line here, and you have a line that cuts across those two lines, that's called a transversal. And remember, trans means across. So trans means across. Just like when we did transitive. So it cuts across two or more lines. So when we have two or more lines cut by a transversal, we create all these different angle types that we have to know. So we're going to set up this one set of angles here, and this is what we'll do. We're going to make one of these lines into a line, and then we're going to cut across here and here, and we'll number these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we have two main types of angles. We've got interior angles and exterior angles. If they are on the inside of two lines, so think of this as like a sandwich. If they're between two lines, then these are interior angles here, okay? And then out here would be exterior on the top, like on top of the bun and below the bun. So this is exterior and this is exterior. Now the thing that you have to understand is that your interior and exteriors can switch depending on how you're looking at the picture. So if I were to turn this way, go ahead and turn yours. These now all become interiors to these two lines, and we get exterior up here and exterior up here. So the interiors and the exteriors can change depending on which two lines are being cut by a transversal. So I'll try to explain clearly the difference. So the first type are same side interior angles. They can also be called consecutive interior angles. So they are on the interior and on the same side of the transversal. So, for example, angle 6 and angle 10. If we focus on just this transversal and these two lines. The 6 and the 10 are between the two lines, so inside the hamburger, and they're both on the same side of that line. So they're both on the right side, so 6 and 10. You could also say 5 and 9 are also same side interiors. Now if we switch the focus to, say, this bottom line being the transversal here, okay, oops, slide this over a little bit. So now these are the two things that divide the inside from the outside. So 10 and 11 are same side interiors because they are both on the top side of the transversal, but between these two lines. So angle 10 and angle 11. Another set would be 12 and 8. So if we cover this one up and we focus on just this right side, okay, 8 and 12 are between the two lines, and they're both on the same side of this transversal, okay? So angle 8 and angle 12. So those are same side interior. Now going along with that, we have what are called alternate interiors. They are also on the interior, but they are on opposite sides of the transversal. So if we look again, we're looking at the same grouping of angles, okay? We'll focus on the left side again. So if you're thinking about like the hamburger bun, 5, 6, 9, and 10 are all your interior angles here. But instead of doing 6 with 10, because they're both on the right side of the transversal, you would do 6 with 9 because they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So angle 6 and angle 9 would be alternate interiors. Let's focus on this top line. So the interior, let me cover that up. The interiors would be 2, 3, 6, and 7 because they're between the two lines. 2 and 3 would be same side interior because they're both on top of the transversal. But 2 and 7 or 3 and 6 would be alternate interiors. So I'll just put 2 and 7 just to put one set of those. And then once again, if we were to concentrate on this down here, 10, 14, 11, and 15 are going to be your interior angles. And this is your transversal. So that means 10 and 15 are on alternate interiors of the angle, or 11 and 14 because they're on the inside, but they're on top and bottom of the transversal, top and bottom of the transversal. So I'll put 10 and 15. Okay. Now, if you understand alternate interior angles, alternate exterior will be very similar. They're on the exterior or the outside and on the opposite sides of the transversal. So, similarly to alternate interior, okay, but now we want to look at the exteriors. So 1 and 2 and 13 and 14 are exterior angles. So if we want alternate exterior, we need one on the left side of the transversal and one on the right side of the transversal. Now, you can't do 1 with 2 because those already have a name. That's a linear pair. You have to do one angle from this line and then one angle from this bottom horizontal line. So 1 and 14 would be alternate exterior, or 13 and 2. So angle 1 and angle 14. So if we look over here, you should be able to tell we've got exteriors are 3, 4, 15, and 16. So we could do 4 and 15 outside exterior, or 3 and 16 because they're on the outsides, but they're on opposite sides of this transversal that goes across. So I'll do 4 and 15. And if we go this way, our exteriors here would be 9, 13, 12, and 16. We need them on opposite sides of the transversal. So one on top of the transversal and one on the bottom. But it has to jump over to the other line. So 12 and 13 or 9 and 16. So I'll put 12 and 13. Probably the hardest one out of them is the corresponding angles. Now, I like to call these the same burner on the stove top, okay? Or they're in the same, same position. So, if you imagine, I'm going to draw some pictures here for you. You've got a line, and a transversal. Imagine you've got this intersection of streets creates one stovetop, and this intersection creates another stovetop. So the back left burner and the back left burner would be the same position, or the same burner on the stove. Or top right, these two go together. Front right, or front left with front left. So imagine that each of these intersections gives you a stovetop with 4 burners. Okay, and you can compare any of these. Well, you can go this way, compare these 2 burners, or compare these stovetops, these stovetops, these stovetops. You just can't go from this stovetop all the way to this one, which we'll get into later. But that means if you imagine this stovetop here, 1 would be the back left burner, and 9 would be the back left burner. So angle 1 and angle 9 would be an example. Maybe 12 top right burner and 10 top right burner of this grouping of 4. Angle 10 and angle 12. If we go top to bottom here, 7 is in the bottom left corner, and 15 is in the bottom left corner. Angle 7 and angle 15. So corresponding can often be the most challenging one because there are no words in corresponding that tell you where it is. So when you think of corresponding, you should be thinking same position, because we'll talk about other things that are corresponding throughout the year, and that will be the same idea, corresponding. So you need to make sure you know these and you understand these and you have these memorized, because the whole entire chapter is based on these 4 angle types right here. And the quicker you get these memorized, the better. Shoot. I should have put a sign out there. I'm actually doing a recording. So it's okay. I wasn't in the middle of it. I was all done, but I'm going to do another one.